What you need to know about the Americans with Disabilities Act Titles 1 through 5. In this video, you will learn what you need to know about the ADA, and for business owners, pay special attention to Title 3. The Americans with Disabilities Act or ADA Title 1, Employment. Employment is an amendment to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It was enacted in 1990 to prohibit discrimination against qualified individuals with disabilities in the private and public sectors. This act is a comprehensive law that covers a wide range of areas, including employment, transportation, public accommodations, and telecommunications. The ADA prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability in all areas of public life. The ADA Title II, Public Services. Title II of the ADA prohibits discrimination by state and local governments against qualified individuals with disabilities in all services, programs, and activities provided or made available to the public. The ADA requires that state and local governments provide reasonable modifications in their policies, practices, or procedures when such modifications are necessary to avoid discrimination on the basis of disability. A reasonable modification is a change in a policy, practice, or procedure that makes it possible for an individual with a disability to enjoy the same benefits and privileges enjoyed by others without disabilities. A modification may include changes in policies, practices, or procedures that enable people with disabilities to use programs fully accessible by people without disabilities. The ADA Title III, Public Accommodations. Public accommodations is a law that prevents discrimination against people with disabilities. This act includes places like restaurants, hotels, theaters, and other public venues. This law also requires that these public accommodations have to make sure they provide reasonable accommodations to people with disabilities when needed. This is the title all businesses must not be ignorant of. This title prohibits private places of public accommodation from discriminating against individuals with disabilities. This title is regulated and enforced by the U.S. Department of Justice. Accordingly, this title directs businesses to make reasonable modifications to their usual ways of doing business when serving people with disabilities, and take steps necessary to communicate effectively with customers with vision, hearing, and speech disabilities. In addition, the ADA also requires that when a person with a disability asks for a modification of policies or the way the business operates, that modification must be considered. The ADA Title IV, Telecommunications. The Americans with Disabilities Act Title IV, Telecommunications Relay Services or TRS, is for people who are deaf or hard of hearing is considered a civil rights law in the United States. The purpose of this law was to ensure that people who are deaf or hard of hearing have access to telephone service. The Telecommunications Relay Services is provided by the Federal Communications Commission and is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The TRS allows people who use sign language to communicate with voice telephone users through an interpreter over the phone. The ADA Title V, Miscellaneous Provisions. Title V of the ADA covers a broad range of miscellaneous provisions. Now you know about the Americans with Disabilities Act, Titles 1 through 5. For more information on the ADA, and making your website ADA compliant, visit our website at adacompliancesolutions.org.